Hello my friends, it is once again time to talk about all of the books I've recently added to my TBR. I think it's been less than a month since I did the last video, but I have a ridiculous number of books that I've added to my TBR. So as you may know, if you've been watching my videos, I have been obsessed with romance lately. So I was doing a bit of a romance deep dive, checking out new things, new upcoming romances. I found a lot that I liked, so that added a ton to the list. And there's just been a lot of great books announced, a lot of great books coming out that seem interesting, news about books coming out next year. So there's a ton to go through. So I'm not gonna make this intro any longer. Let's get right into the books. We have The Bad Ones by Melissa Albert. So I had no idea about this, but this comes out next year, February 20th. Melissa Albert is at this point one of my favorite authors. She's the author of The Hazelwood, as well as her most recent Our Crooked Hearts, I believe is what it was called, and I loved it. So this is a new one from her that is another horror, YA horror. I believe it's YA. Supernatural horror about 4 mysterious disappearances in a town haunted by a sinister magical history. Very excited for this one. Also, I really love the cover as well, and I'm excited to read this one when it comes out. It is definitely one of my anticipated releases for 2024. Okay, moving on. I'm not going to say too much about all of these because we have, 36 books to get through. So some of these I'm going to be really quick. Okay, next we have Evocation by S.T. Gibson. This is one that is coming out next year as well. Automatically one of my most anticipated releases for next year. S.T. Gibson is the author of A Dowry of Blood, which I absolutely loved, amongst many other things that I haven't gotten around to read yet. But this sounds so interesting. So it is about this man named David, who's an attorney but also moonlights as a medium for a secret society. We also have maybe an interesting love triangle slash throuple situation with David and his best friend Reese and Reese's wife Moira, who needs to help him unravel a centuries-old curse when the devil himself comes to David to collect on a deal that one of his ancestors made. Like, this just sounds so good. There seems to be a lot going on and I'm very excited for it. I love the cover of this. I love the way it looks like a tarot card. This comes out May 28th of 2024 and I'm very excited for this one. Next we have a little cozy fantasy is what it seems like. This is Japanese fiction. It is What You Are Looking For Is in the Library. This is by Michiko Aoyama, and it's translated by Allison Watts. The cover is what really pulled me in with this one, the cat on the cover, and the fact that it's a book about books. So this is about a librarian who has the ability to read the souls of her library guests and pick out the perfect book for the perfect person. It's about the magic of libraries, friendship, and community, perfect for anyone who has ever found themselves at an impasse in their life in need of a little inspiration. It sounds super cute and will be out actually really soon. This one comes out on the 5th of September. Next we have a fun YA paranormal mystery called A Guide to the Dark. This is by Miriam Matau. It says that it is The Haunting of Hill House meets Nina LaCour. Now, I have not read anything by Nina LaCour, so I'm not sure about that comparison, but anything compared to The Haunting of Hill House, I am 100% here for. And the cool thing about this is apparently it has a bunch of photos inside as well, taken by the author, which sounds like it'll be a fun thing to read physically. But it is about these 2 girls that end up at this motel where apparently 8 other people died, and they've got to figure out what's going on before one of them becomes the night. Next we have Curious Tides. This is by Pascal Lascelles, and this is one that I've been seeing a lot of buzz for already. It comes out October 3rd of this year, and I believe it's a new dark academia. It says that it is Ninth House meets A Deadly Education in this gorgeous dark academia fantasy following a teen mage who must unravel the truth behind the secret society that may have been involved in her classmate's death. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm not over the whole dark academia trend, so anything dark academia I'm totally here for. Going back to a cozy, we have Till Death Do Us Barred by Rose Black. Another one that just sounds super adorable. This comes out November 21st of this year, and the cover is so beautiful. And this is about Logan and his husband Pi. It says, Logan hung up his axe and settled down with his sunshiny barred husband Pi. But when Pi disappears, Logan is forced back into a world he thought he'd left behind. Logan quickly discovers that Pi has been blackmailed into stealing a powerful artifact capable of creating an undead army. With the help of an old adversary and a ghost from his past, Logan sets out to rescue his husband, but the further the quest takes him, the more secrets Logan uncovers. He'll need all his strength to rescue his husband, but can he save their marriage? Next we have Immortal Pleasures. This is by V. Castro, and honestly, the cover is what pulled me in. This is a new horror upcoming from V. Castro, and it is kind of unique to see such a sensual, sultry cover on a horror novel that honestly, that was really what pulled me in and made me want to read this. I have read from V. Castro before. I read Goddess of Filth, and I actually really liked that. I still need to read her newest one, but I'm very excited for this. This comes out next year in April, I believe, and we've got vampires, and like between the cover and the fact that there's vampires, that's pretty much all I needed to know. But it says an ancient Aztec vampire roams the modern world in search of vengeance and love in this seductive dark fantasy. Next we have When Among Crows. This is a new one from Veronica Roth, which is super exciting. So I love Veronica Roth. This is another novella from Tor, and this is a contemporary fantasy set in Chicago where creatures from Slavic lore are real and among us, and is a story about the families we build and the ones we destroy. That's all it says about it on Goodreads. Honestly, I didn't even need to know that much. This comes out May 14th of next year. Also, I absolutely adore the cover. Next we have Writers and Lovers by Lily King. So this is one that's been out for a while, and I've seen it here and there, but I never really had much interest in it, and I don't remember who it was that I heard talking about this, but the way they talked about it made me feel like I really needed to read it. The thing that excited me about this is that it's set in the 90s, and we're following a main character who is an artist who is trying to live a more creative life. Apparently she starts dating two different men at the same time. It explores the terrifying and exhilarating leap between the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another. Hopefully this will be a good one. Let me know if you've read it. Then we have The Stranger Upstairs. This is by Lisa M. Matlin. This, I believe, is a debut. Love the cover of this. Is it only covers that get to me? Yes, like that's a huge part of why I pick up books, honestly. But it follows a social media influencer with a secret past who buys a murder house to renovate, but finds more than she bargained for behind the peeling wallpaper in this gothic psychological debut. This comes out September 12th. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to it this spooky season. If not, that's fine. I have so many books on my radar for the month of October, it's ridiculous. Next we have The Hexologists by Josiah Bancroft, who is the author of the Books of Babel series, which I have not read yet, but I am still very interested in reading. I've heard really good things about that series. This is a new one that is coming out September 26th of this year. It says it is the first in a wildly inventive and mesmerizing new fantasy series where magical mysteries abound. We're following Iz and Warren Wilby, who are quite accustomed to helping desperate clients with their hexes and a bag of charmed relics. And they find themselves embroiled in a mystery that could very well see the nation turned on its head. And it just seems like a really fun fantasy. So I'm excited to give this a read at some point. Don't know if I'll go out and pick it up right when it comes out, but I'm excited to check it out at some point. Okay, so first we had The Stranger Upstairs. Now we have The Voice Upstairs by Laura E. Weymouth. This is another YA gothic mystery, I believe. It takes place in the 1920s in England, following a working class girl who can see spirits, who works with a lord's son to solve mysterious deaths at the local manor home in this eerie historical mystery, perfect for fans of The Haunting of Bly Manor and Downton Abbey. This one comes out October 3rd of this year, and it sounds really fun. This one, I was so excited when I found out about this. So this is called The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson. This comes out November 28th. Erica Johansson is the author of Queen of the Tearling series, which is a series that I really liked up until the last book, but we don't talk about that. This is a standalone fantasy novel perfect for the Christmas season. It is a darkly magical take on the Nutcracker, and that's basically all I needed to know. I can't wait to read this. I'm probably going to read it on Christmas, and it's going to be an amazing time. Next we have The Dragons of Deepwood Fen by Bradley P. Baleo. This is another author that I've heard of because I was very interested in reading his series, the Song of the Shattered Sands series, the first book being The 12 Kings and Sharakai. I kept hearing such amazing things about that book and about that series in general. Still haven't gotten around to reading it, but this is the start of a new series by this author, and in my attempt to find and read more books with dragons in them, I had to add this one to my list. This one actually comes out December 5th of this year, and it follows an unlikely pair as they expose the secrets at the heart of the mountain city of Ancris. Our main character, Lorelei, follows a mysterious tip that leads her to the clandestine meeting between the church and the hated Red Knights. She uncovers a plot that threatens not only her home, but the empire itself. She meets up with Ryan, who is a notorious thief posing as a dragon singer. And I've heard that dragons do play a huge role in this world. So I am very excited for this one. I don't know if I'm gonna get to this first or get to his other series first. We shall see. Next we have Knock Knock Open Wide by Neil Sharpson. Combination of title and cover is what pulled me in. This is coming out October 3rd of this year by Tor Nightfire. And it says, Knock Knock Open Wide weaves horror and Celtic myth into a terrifying, heartbreaking, supernatural tale of fractured family bonds, the secrets we carry, and the veiled forces that guide Irish life. Okay, this is one that I found when I was going on my deep dive romance research session the other day, and this is called The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brienne Randall. So this one was giving me very Secret Society of Irregular Witches vibes. It has that kind of cozy, magical, romancy feel to it. It says that it's for fans of practical magic and Gilmore Girls. It is a debut novel that explores the shields we build around our hearts to retain our own magic. It says readers who love the magic of the particular sadness of lemon cake, I haven't even heard of that book, and the sense of community found in the very Secret Society of Irregular Witches will enjoy this warm, witchy novel. Along those lines, we have The Witches of Bone Hill by Ava Morgan. I think that this is more along the lines of two sisters like discovering their powers and their family history and secrets after their aunt dies and they have to go to this small little town in Connecticut to deal with her estate. This definitely sounds a little bit darker, but is still giving me those cozy vibes. So hopefully it's what I think it is. This one comes out September 26th of this year. Okay, so this one I'm a little bit iffy about, but I went ahead and added it to my TBR anyway. This is Full Moon Over Freedom by Angela M. Lopez. This is the second book in the Milagros Street series. I read the first one and I thought it was fine. I gave it 3 stars, but I did enjoy the author's writing, and I did say that I would probably read another book by her. The thing that interested me about this one is that we're following another bruja from Freedom, Kansas, who has to deal with a curse and breaking a family curse. And what I also liked is that she is a single mom, and I don't see a lot of romances, or I haven't read a lot of romances with single moms. That kind of excited me. Plus the cover is just so stunning and cute, and I'm really hoping that I'm going to enjoy this one. This comes out September 5th. I don't know if I'm going to get to it in September, but I might. We'll see if I like this one better than the first one. Okay, next we have Do Your Worst by Rosie Danon. I don't know why that name sounds so familiar, but I'm pretty sure I have not read anything by this author before. But this is, once again, another romance. We're following an occult expert and a disgraced archaeologist who become enemies with benefits in this steamy romance. I talked about this in my previous vlog, but one thing that I've recently discovered that I enjoy is following romances where the protagonists have interesting jobs or careers. And so in this one we have an occult expert and an archaeologist, and that sounded really fun. Plus the whole enemies with benefits, enemies to lovers thing is a trope that I really like. So excited to see what happens in this one. This comes out November 14th of this year, and I definitely think this is one that I will pick up immediately. There's definitely a trend here with these. The next one is called This Spells Disaster by Tori Ann Martin. Surprise, surprise, it's another witchy romance. It says fake dating gets a magical twist in this enchanting queer romantic comedy where a witch worries that the real feelings brewing between her and her crush were sparked by an accidental love potion. And the only way out of the disastrous spell is a healthy dose of the truth. Drink up, witches. This comes out September 12th. Okay, I think this is the last romance we have to talk about, but this is called Raiders of the Lost Heart by Joe Segura. And this is once again because the main characters are archaeologists. I don't know how I found all of these, but I just love the idea. Like the title, the cover, just all of it just sounded really fun. This one comes out December 5th of this year. It says rival archaeologists must team up on a secret Aztec expedition or it could leave their careers and hearts in ruins. Okay, moving into less romance. The next book that I have on my list is Rouge by Mona Awad, which comes out September 12th. I still have yet to read Bunny by Mona Awad. I know that it's like everyone's favorite, but I haven't read it yet. I will, I will. Maybe I'll even read it this season. We'll see. But I thought Rouge looked really interesting because it is a gothic horror, I believe, that is fairy tale inspired. It's a horror tinted gothic fairy tale about a lonely dress shop clerk whose mother's unexpected death sends her down a treacherous path in pursuit of youth and beauty. I don't know if I'll get to this first or if I'll get to Bunny first, but either way, I'm very excited to give this a read. Next we have What Kind of Mother? This is by Clay McLeod Chapman. This one comes out September 12th as well. There's so many good books coming out in September, it's ridiculous. But it says it mixes Southern Gothic, a missing child story, and body horror into an entertaining brew sure to inform your nightmares. It says it combines supernatural horror with domestic suspense into a visceral exploration of parental grief, which sounds like a lot. And I don't know if I'll be able to get to it this season, honestly. I love spooky season, you guys, so much, and I love scary books and I love horror and scary movies, but like it really does things to my anxiety. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to read too much of this kind of stuff this season, but this is definitely one that I would love to get to. We shall see where my head is at when it comes out. Next we have Edenville. This is by Sam Rebeline. An unsettling, immersive, and wildly entertaining debut novel from an exciting new voice in horror for fans of Paul Tremblay and Stephen Graham Jones. We're following Campbell, who is struggling to find inspiration for his follow-up novel and gets invited to Edenville College to join as a writer in residence. But there's something strange about the town of Edenville. Cam and his girlfriend Quinn find themselves entangled in a dark and disturbing history, told with equal parts horror and humor. This one comes out October 3rd of this year. Next we have Ghost Tamer. This is by Meredith R. Lyons. This one comes out September 19th. It says, death is one thing, it's what you do afterward that matters. Aspiring comedian, Rayleigh is the sole survivor of a disastrous train wreck. While faced with the intense grief of losing her best friend, she realizes that someone is following her and has been following her all her life. Trouble is, no one else can see him. It says for readers who enjoy Leigh Bardugo's Ninth House, which is what solidified this ad to my TBR. I don't think I've ever read a book where the main character was a comedian, so that's interesting. That'll be something new. Next we have The Dead Take the A Train. This is by Cassandra Caw and Richard Kadri. I have read from Cassandra Caw before. I read their novella. What was it? Oh right, Nothing But Blackened Teeth, and I really enjoyed that. I really liked their writing. It felt pretentious at times, but in a good way, if that makes sense. So I'm excited to read something else by them, but this is also co-authored, and this one is the first book in a new series, actually. A dark new story with magic, monsters, and mayhem, perfect for fans of Neil Gaiman and Joe Hill. It says Julie is desperate for a quick career boost to break the dead-end grind, but her pleas draw the attention of an eldritch god who is hungry for revenge. I mean, yes, all you needed to say was Eldritch God, and I'm sold. Plus this cover is so wild. I love it. And then we have another YA horror, and this is called There's No Way I'd Die First by Lisa Springer. This comes out September 5th of this year, and it is a debut. So it says this is a spine-tingling contemporary horror that follows a scary movie buff as she hosts an elaborate Halloween bash on her family's estate, but soon finds the festivities upended when she and her guests are forced to test their survival skills in a deadly party game. Next we have All That Consumes Us, and this is by Erica Waters, who is an author that I've definitely wanted to read from at some point and just haven't gotten around to it yet. But this one comes out October 17th, and honestly it was the cover that pulled me in because the cover is stunning and I love it. I think this is another dark academia. In this we are following Tara, who gets a chance to enroll in this prestigious college with free tuition, inspirational professors, and dream jobs once you graduate. Once she's settled into the gorgeous Victorian dormitory the academy calls home, something strange starts to happen. She finally has the chance to write, but her stories are dark and twisted. When she's not sleepwalking, she's dreaming about being trapped in a coffin, buried alive. And she's starting to feel an unseen presence stalking her through the halls of her dorm. Hypnotizing, utterly lush, and gothic reverie. That sounds like everything that I want and need. Next we have The Forest Demands Its Due by Kosoko Jackson. It says that it is a lesson in vengeance meets the taking of Jake Livingston, which was all I needed to know. A lesson in vengeance was one of the most atmospheric, beautiful Gothics that I have ever read. This comes out October 3rd as well. I went ahead and added Mary, An Awakening of Terror by Nat Cassidy to my TBR. This is one that came out last year, and it seemed interesting, but I never really looked into it until I recently heard someone talking about it, and I was like, you know what? That actually sounds really, really good. And it says, things have been changing inside Mary. I recently heard someone talk about it and mentioned how real and authentic the experience of Mary felt, and so that got me really intrigued. I love following older women protagonists, and so that made me really excited. Okay, I guess we do have another romance on here. The Secret to a Southern Wedding by Synethia Williams. I actually saw this on TikTok. Like, I don't watch BookTok at all. Like, my For You page, rarely any book things happening. But for some reason this came up, and I saw someone talking about it, and it got me intrigued. This comes out August 15th, or I should say came out August 15th. It's already out in the world. I've never read anything by Synethia Williams, but that is an author that I've heard people mention and enjoy. The fun thing about this is that we're following Amani, whose mother is about to marry a man that she met on a dating app, and Amani doesn't want her mom getting hurt, so she goes to try to stop the wedding, I think, and like talk her mother out of it, but then sparks fly with the groom's son. So that sounds super fun and messy, and I just heard it has a lot of like Southern family drama, which I'm very excited to experience. Next we have a nonfiction that I've recently added to my TBR, and it is called Dark Archives, A Librarian's Investigation into the Science and History of Books Bound in Human Skin. Yes, this is by Megan Rosenblum, and it's exactly what it says in the title. The historic and scientific truths behind the practice of binding books in the most intimate covering, human skin. It sounded super interesting, okay? It sounds super interesting. I will definitely read this at some point. I just don't know when. Okay, now for a cutesy little middle grade that I found out about. This is called Just a Pinch of Magic by Alicia Dow. Alicia Dow is another author that I have meant for many years now to read a book from and still have not done. But this just looks so adorable. I mean, look at the cover of this. This is Alicia Dow's middle grade debut. It's as warm and sweet as a cinnamon bun, bursting with magic and sure to please the pickiest readers. And we're following Winnie, whose family of enchanters runs a little bakery. A little magical bakery. This comes out October 10th of this year, and it just seemed like such a cute, cozy thing to read this fall. Oh my goodness, we're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, next we have A Dark and Drowning Tide, and this is by Allison Saft. This is one that doesn't come out until March of next year, and it says a sharp-tongued folklorist must pair up with her academic rival to solve their mentor's murder in this lush and enthralling sapphic fantasy romance. That sounds really good, actually. I've never read anything from Allison Saft. Let me know if you have, because this author definitely has some other interesting things that I would consider picking up. Okay, I found a new cozy mystery that I want to try out this season. We'll see if I end up liking it and continuing on, but this is called In the Company of Witches by Aurelie Wallace. It says, when a guest dies in the B&B she helps her aunts run, a young witch must rely on some good old-fashioned investigating to clear her aunt's name in this magical and charming new cozy mystery. And just like a perfect cozy read for the fall. Then we have I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me by Jameson Shea. This came out August 29th. So this is another YA horror. It says Ace of Spades meets House of Hollow in this villain origin story. That is what had me so excited. I love following a good villain. I've already heard amazing things about this, so I cannot wait to read it. I will probably, definitely, be picking this one up this season. And then one last thing before I let you go. Catherine Arden just announced her new book that is coming out February 13th of next year. It's called The Warm Hands of Ghosts. Now, this is a historical war story. Or at least it takes place during the war, and I think it heavily features World War I. I'm not a huge reader of that particular era, so I don't know how this is gonna work for me, but I mean, it's Catherine Arden, So I'm still putting it on my anticipated reads list because I have loved everything Catherine Arden has done, and I anticipate enjoying this one as well. We shall see. But it says, during the Great War, a combat nurse searches for her brother, believed dead, in the trenches despite eerie signs that suggest otherwise in this hauntingly beautiful historical novel with a speculative twist. So it does have a slight speculative element to it, a little fantasy element, so maybe that'll make me enjoy it more. We shall see, but I'm very excited to finally read something new from Catherine Arden. And that, my friends, is the ridiculously long list of all the books that I've recently added to my TBR. I know it's a lot, and I don't know how I will ever get through all the books that I want to read before I die. But here we are. I continue to add at least a good 20 books every single month to my TBR. It's absolutely fine. Talk to me down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Let me know if you are excited about any of these as well. For the ones that are already out, let me know if you've read them and enjoyed them. You know I love hearing from you in the comments. And if you want to leave me an emoji, you can either leave me a ghost emoji or a rose emoji. It feels like everything I've recently added to my TBR has either been horror or romance. So whichever genre you enjoy more, leave me a ghost or a rose. But that is going to be it for me today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!